Hey YouTube friends, here on this channel we are looking into recipes of more than 100 different ethnicities that live in Russia. Today I'm going to make dolmales, very tasty, fulfilling, incredible dish. In this video I'm actually working with two versions. One is meat and rice stuffed wine leaves and other is Pasuts Dolma, which is beans and bulgur stuffed cabbage leaves. To start we're going to sauté 1 diced white onion as well as sliced 2 garlic cloves until translucent, adding our rice to it to toast and give it a color. Meanwhile, adding fresh chopped parsley to already grounded and seasoned beef. Here I add more seasonings such as dried thyme and oregano. I sprinkle some cumin and coriander. After it is all mixed together, I'm going to start wrapping it up. Here I have those lovely leaves, the wine leaves that you can find in a big supermarket. You would just need to wash them out of the brine and you'd be able to use them straight away. Now there are two sides of a wine leaf. We are using a rough one to stuff. Taking a spoonful of the stuffing and start rolling them. Tuck the sides in and carry on rolling. It could be somewhat time consuming to roll dolmales, so to make a process faster, put 6 or 8 leaves down on the cutting board at the same time and stuff and roll one after the other. You should get a little bit of a rhythm down. Continue rolling until your filling is gone and it's time to transfer it to the pot, but first we are going to make a bed for our dolma. If you got any torn or ugly leaves that you end up not using them, would perfectly serve for this reason. We go this to make sure our dolma is not sticking to the pot later on in case we run out of water by accident, which is not really supposed to happen. But we are going to place them in, and very important, the dolmales need to be just barely touching but not smashed together. If they are too tight, they're just not going to cook properly, and on the other hand, if they're too loose, they would unravel. After all your dolmales have been properly placed, and by the way, you can go multiple layers if you have to, the recipe will just work the same. Here I'm adding a drizzle of olive oil and I suggest to squeeze some lemon juice over as well. One very important thing to do before I add a liquid, we need to keep our dolmales in place while cooking. To do so, we need a heavy plate, or dolmale is going to start dancing and unwrapping while they cook. Here I have a pot on the stove with the liquid water just slightly covering it. We're gonna leave this for 30 to 40 minutes, then opening our lid, taking the plate out, and we see our dolmales are ready. So now if you are looking for a healthy vegan alternative, here is a recipe just for you. For that we're going to need a lot of beans, and you can use a canned alternative, but I made this all from scratch, soaking and boiling different kinds of beans. Here we're going to make our Pasuts Dolma with red kidney beans, chickpeas, lentil and cannelloni beans, as well as bulgur, tomato, onion paste, mix of fresh herbs such parsley, cilantro and definitely dill, as well as our spices such as paprika, thyme, coriander, garlic powder, salt and black pepper. Before wrapping filling in, we are going to need a softened cabbage leaves, which can be done by boiling a cabbage head until it softens and leaves are easy to separate. But it is a lot easier to freeze the cabbage the night before you want to use it. The next day let the cabbage thaw out a few hours before you start to stuff the leaves. You're going to end up with two different sizes to work with. big leaves you're going to cut in the middle, separating from the thick vein, and for the smaller ones, cutting the vein from the bottom, making a V-shaped cut. Place the mixture on a cabbage leaf, overlap cut ends of a leaf, fold inside, roll it up. Here we follow the same pattern as earlier with grape leaves dolmales. I'm just adding few dried chilies to spice it up a little, bringing it to the stove and leaving for only 20 minutes because the only ingredient that is not cooked in this is bulgur. Now, after my dolmas are cooled off, I am going to serve them with a dill lemon yogurt sauce. And these are what you basically want. Gorgeous to look at, delicious to eat, and completely addictive, whichever one you prefer.